Now, it's time for Eric G's Pro Tips.
All right, guys, today I'm going to show you my tricks to resurfacing concrete. And technology over the last few years has gotten so much better where you can save that old slab, whether it's a paver stone like this or a walkway. There's a great way to do this. So the first thing we're going to do here before we mix up our concrete is we got to make sure this is clean, and we need to make sure that we have water over the top of this. Because what happens is, if no matter what we're doing here, if we put a mix on this dry concrete, it's just going to soak it back in. So we don't have any pooled water, but for this, I'm just making sure that we've got this soaked in so we had some good adhesion. That's the secret to making this stick. So I'm going to put a little more water on here, let this soak in. So I have this Rapid Set resurfacer right here. There's a lot of different brands out there. This is just off the shelf of my local home center. We're going to mix this up, and I'm just going to do enough to do this, and that's the secret to doing this stuff. This stuff has about a 5 to 10 minute working time, so you only need to mix up enough to do the area you're working in. So what I'm going to do here, since we're just doing a little bit, I'm going to grab a little bit here. And I like to mix with water first. Put a little bit in here. Keep my dry cup over there so I don't have a big mess. Got my water in there. Now we're just going to add enough dry to this to make sure that we have the right mixture. To get kind of close to that peanut butter consistency is kind of what you're looking for. All right, another tip here, when you get water on this, if it starts to beat up like a waxed car, that means that there's some kind of sealer on there you're gonna have to remove. So pressure washer, some kind of acid etch, make sure that the water soaks in, because otherwise this isn't gonna work. All right, now we're just gonna kind of work this a little bit. This stuff really works nice. It's got a really nice, almost a plastic feel to it, because you could just really feel the stiffness of the mix, which is exactly what you're looking for here. All right, so what I'm gonna do is let that set for a minute. After this sets for about 5 minutes, I'm gonna do a quick little broom finish on it so it gives us a nice non-slip surface. All right, we started to lose some of the gloss over it, so let's see if we can give this thing a broom finish. All right, there we go. I'm gonna let that dry a little bit more, but you know something? This is how you can really repair that concrete and get it looking just like new. All right, guys, today I'm going to show you how to repair or rebuild window screens. And I'll show you, we got a broken one right here, and traditionally this happens by somebody not being careful of how they take it out, or somebody trying to pop the window open, and I'm going to show you how to rebuild these. So with this right here, there's no repair in this. We're going to build a whole new screen. So what I did is I ran down to the hardware store, picked up some window screen material, and I also picked up one of the frame kits here. Let me show you how we're going to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is get some dimensions here of the existing screen. That makes life so much easier. We don't have to try to figure out what goes into that opening. So this one right here, I'm going to measure on the edge here where it's in good condition. That's 28.5. So this is pretty cool. It comes with all the pieces. You can just get whatever size you need, but just make sure you get bigger because we're going to have to cut this down. So for tools, you'll need a hacksaw or something to cut the metal with. And of course, my favorite tool, which is one of these window spline installers. It makes life so much easier to put this together. Let's take a look at the old screen here, and it'll kind of tell us a story. One thing I like to do is I can come in here and see how these clips work. Now, if this was in better condition, I think I could actually take this a piece out of this and put it together, but the rest of it's kind of bent and warped up, so we're just going to build a whole brand new one. But it does give us the exact dimensions of the piece that we're cutting, so that does make it a little bit easier. So we can come in here and see that these top crossbars are 27 inches. And with that, let's cut these and start putting these things together. All right, that looks pretty good. Now, if you've got a little area right here where you got a little piece of metal that's exposed right there, you can just come in with your Sharpie, clean that up. Nobody will know any different. So let's compare this to the other screen, see how we're looking. Now's the time to fix it if it's not right. So there's a lot of different screen materials out there when you're at the hardware store. I like the stuff that's the clearest, you know, for a window, because you can just really get the best view out of there. So look for the stuff that's more view rated. But if you've got a window, for instance, that's maybe a screen door or something like that, and you've got pets, take a look at the pet stuff. It's about 10 times a heavy duty, but I tell you what, it is pretty hard to install because it's so thick it doesn't want to go into the groove. So give yourself some time and a lot of patience to do that. All right, guys, want to make sure that this is really square, and my secret to that too is I want to make sure that this grid of the screen is equal at the window so it looks really good. So I like to take this factory edge. When I start putting the spline in, I use that to my advantage here and get it lined up correctly on the screen here. Just like that. And we're going to use this spline tool right here. It has two different ends on it. One's bigger, one's smaller, depending on the side of the groove. I'm going to use the bigger one on this because it'll work great. And then I'm going to install this right down here. You want to make sure and keep it in the groove and on the spline, because if you push down too hard, you can actually cut the screen. That's why it's always a good idea to have a little extra screen hanging around for that very reason. What I've done, if I've got a big door, for instance, what I'll do is I'll actually tape the corners down and put it on a big table as well, like for a screen door. That helps you from moving stuff around and getting it out of square. All right, before I go any further, I'm going to get a cross on this to make sure that we are doing a window screen that's going to be square. So that's 49 1/4 there. Corner to corner, we want to make sure these are as close as they are. Loosen that up and make sure we've got this really nice and tight. It will already tension itself a little bit, but we want to make sure we don't have any waves or kind of bubbles in this. Make sure we're square. All right, this is where you kind of inspect your work, like right here. I'm really happy with that. It's nice, level, no ripples, no bubbles, so we can start trimming this up a little bit. All right, guys, there we go. That there is how you fix your own screens or make a new one.